In other words, and God forbid, if we get invaded, do we actually have an SANDF that is capable and sufficiently resourced to defend and protect the Republic?
I can promise you that you can sleep peacefully. We will be able to defend the country. We have the capacity.
Without enough air support, without enough ships?
Exactly. With what we have, we're confident that we'll not be attacked and then find ourselves on the field. So we have enough capacity to sustain that which was supposed, but we're saying we would wish to have more capacity to even do more. But in terms of just basic sustenance, we can promise all South Africans we're capable of doing it.
Politically incorrect. I don't know where to start. I wanted this to be a short one. Please tell me, what do you think should happen to the situation in Congo? First, I want to applaud Cyril Ramaphosa for not jumping into conclusion and causing a mock, and because of firepower we start engaging in warfare with Rwanda via the M23. Congratulations for not doing that. But as South Africans, let's talk. Number one, he has started engagement, informally, of course, speaking to Rwanda to say, what is it that we're going to do? Please withdraw. That part we are told he has done, but he has not given us a press conference to explain that. Number two, South Africans, what must Cyril Ramaphosa do with the ministry itself? We've been saying, not only we've been saying, maybe a career general must take over that ministry. But of course we know less than politicians do. The capacitation of those people, are they the right soldiers trained for such things? Are they peacekeeping officials, or are they real soldiers, combat ready officials? We do not know all of those things because, of course, for obvious reasons, they cannot tell you that this one is just an office clerk. But South Africans, let's talk. Let's create this conversation, because I do not know. Is it a case of South Africa deliberately going there, not to fight, but to, I don't want to use words like toy soldiers because it will be insensitive for the families who had lost, but South African authorities sending our soldiers to a war-ravaged place because over the years we've been getting minimal attacks. Maybe they would assess and they are not fighting. I don't know, man. I don't know. So I tried to get people here to come and sit and talk to us about this, to advise us. I'm struggling. But South Africa, let's talk. What is it that we must happen? What is that must happen? Please, I do not know any of these answers, but here's the little bit that I read about and I understand. And I'm not saying it's the reason. So M23 are Tutsis. So Tutsis are people of the same tribe as Paul Kagame. Paul Kagame, of course, being Rwandan, Ugandan, trained and stuff with Museveni, and then he came back, and then at the time he's accused of that Hutu Tutsi war. And in that space area where the eastern part of the Congo, the southeastern part, but they just call it the eastern part, is where you will find mostly Tutsis. And Tutsis are those people who had the March 23, 2009, or you can say 2012 movement, because the 2009 was the peace agreement, where the peace agreement, after having not been adhered to by 2012, they started doing this thing to say, we are freedom fighters. But depending on who you listen to, these people are actually called rebels. As we are Africans, these people are called rebels. So if these people are waging guerrilla warfare. Umkhonto wesizwe, were they rebels or were they guerrilla freedom fighters? Because the M23, for their own people, they say they are protecting the interest of their people, and their people are Tutsis. The Tutsis are found in Uganda, in Rwanda, and in and around Lake Kivu, and in and around there. And those people have been persecuted. Persecuted, of course, they are treated as, the same way South Africans are treating Zimbabweans, in particular, Zimbabweans of Shona descent. The same way they are treating them, those people are treated that way. And I'm deliberately using these examples because the treatment the Shona people are getting in South Africa is not the same as Botswana, Basotho, and Swatis. It's not the same. So I'm saying those people are waging war. So to bring it to perspective, it's a case of ZANU-PF supporting a rebel movement in South Africa comprising of Bashona, because they are fighting for their free determination. The situation is a bit different because we do not have a substantial population of the Shona tribe in South Africa. So there, those people are saying they are protecting the interest of the Tutsis. But of course, that interest also talks about the minerals on the ground. So how did people from this side find themselves this side of the border? Because those borders are colonial. When we talk about Scramble of Africa and call it a Congo conference, it is because that is exactly what they wanted to do. They did not care. When we spoke to Dr. Litchfield Chabalala Kanyesile, she told us that that conference took a long time because they had to say which one is the best way, which one is the best way. They consulted back and forth. How do you divide people? How do you kill a king? Do you kill a king now or do you kill a king later? Who's the leader? And when is the leader? They will change scripts to discuss us for generations to come, and their plot is working even today. I've said a lot in this podcast that there are more Basotho people living in South Africa than in Lesotho. There are more Botswana living in South Africa than in Botswana. Botswana is a population of 2 million, almost the same population as the Swaziland and Lesotho. These people are actually our own people. We are one solid country. One solid country. We've got people that side and people this side, and this is our same people. If we were to fight, can you imagine people in Northwest fighting their own cousins? Can you imagine people in Mpumalanga fighting their own cousins? Free State in the same way. Matatial people fighting Botswana from that side. It's the same people. And this is the most difficult part. When we said Ukraine and Russia, it's cousins fighting. This is exactly what we are meaning. Because if people are that side, they are not only that side physically as themselves, but they are in that side with their land. So their land, it's their ancestral home. So people are saying, and I had people who are saying in Congo, the people who ran away from Rwanda during the genocide. The genocide happened around 94 when South Africa were waking up. The world was watching us while the genocide was happening between the Tutsis and the Hutus. So when people were running away, they ran away this side of Congo, where Bugoma and Kivu are, North Kivu. But this is what the narrative says. Then when the time was right, they went back, but they still consider that place as their own. I'm not an anthropologist, I'm not a historian, but I don't think that is true. But I stand corrected. I don't think that is true. I don't think that is true. There were people living that side of Congo who are Tutsi. It's very difficult to explain how big Congo is. It's Congo is not only one of the biggest countries in the world. It is the biggest economy, natural economy in the world. And people don't want it to unite. You would see I have deliberately not wanted to speak about Paul Kagame's involvement, besides to say I'm deliberately doing that because I want someone to come and advise us here. He's a freedom fighter. Let me not speak about him. I don't want to speak about him, but what saddens me is I have to make this video because I feel as an African, maybe we must talk, we must advise each other. So those who want to talk about Paul Kagame, they can advise me on the podcast, on the comments. So let's see. It's a very sad moment because we are losing our own. Should we sit idle? Should we continue kissing people? There are South Africans who are very angry that for all these years, South Africa has committed soldiers there for peacekeeping missions, paying or being paid a lot of money. And our soldiers go there because when they return, they come back with a bag. And some, of course, come and do, I blew it. But our soldiers are enticed to go there and go and fight. And we have always thought. And by the way, this is not the first time, we have lost people in Central African Republic. But Congo is one of the most famous missions that our people go there for a mission and stay for a long time, 6 months to a year, and until they come back. But it's a very challenging thing. I don't know where to go from here. Mashana politically incorrect. Let me leave it here. You tell me, at whose interest are these people fighting? Are these people fighting interest of politicians? Are these people fighting to protect minerals of Africa? Someone said, if they are there to protect natural resources, they can come here and come and fight Zamazamas locally and get rid of Zamazamas. Agree is the same protection of those minerals. They can come here and do it because you are going there, you are going to fight people who then come here and fight and do these things. We've got people who are chowing our minerals. Why can't we defend them here? Is it because there's a bigger cake? Are these people free security guards for the interests of politicians? I do not know, but I'll let you speak. Machine politically incorrect. I'm at my depths. I don't know what to say from here because, don't want to get into trouble.
Our soldiers from DRC, not because we don't want to support DRC. What M23 did to us is actually a declaration of war against South Africa. You cannot be killed like that and you don't respond. That is an act of cowardice. Because M23 should know that South Africa is not a place to play. The point I made on the withdrawal of soldiers was that we did not deploy soldiers who are well-trained to go and fight the sophisticated soldiers of M23. We just deployed people and we call them soldiers, but they don't have bullets. The reason why our 9 soldiers were killed now is because the person who was appointed, a tender that was appointed to supply ammunition, did not supply ammunition, and our people got killed. The first time they got killed in ambush in their own base. If you had shot 9 American soldiers with that madness which is in the presidents of America now, they would have flattened you the following day. No one would have played jokes. People are playing jokes with the lives of our brothers, and we must not allow that. If they can't give them equipment, let them come back. They were, the death before this one, the soldiers were telling me that there were actually 2 military helicopters in their base, but there is no pilot to fly those helicopters. The first and the last time they flew there, that's when they were taking them there. You've got some bit of air power, but you don't use it because there is just no capacity. So someone is sleeping, and what makes matters worse, they take Mam Angie to become a Minister of Defense. after being a minister of sinkholes. I mean, this sinkhole started during her time. Now she's sinking the army now, after sinking Relebogi.
African standby force.
There's a rejection of African standby force by the imperialist forces in the West because they benefit out of the instability of DRC and Africa in particular. If there is any country that was messed up right from the beginning, was DRC. They've been destabilizing that country for many years because they want those minerals in the DRC. They even created illegal landing strips to land in DRC, to steal directly from DRC and leave. There's nothing revolutionary about M23. Yes, we understand the dynamics of those who are found in that region and the leadership of DRC ill-treating them. But what is important is we cannot allow black-on-black violence. In whose interest is that? Why do you take up arms to kill other fellow Africans? So we should first stabilize DRC and support the SADC initiatives and support the UN intervention, because the stability of DRC means the stability of SADC, and the stability of SADC means the stability of our continent. So we should be concerned that there are problems in the DRC, and before they come to us, they have to be stopped in DRC. You don't wait for them to come to you for you to realize we have a problem. If they can do it in DRC, that will become a practice. And the African agenda is such that we have to go and help the people of DRC. But we must not do that to our own detriment. We have to deploy the best capacity we have. And if we don't have, let's confess we don't have it and withdraw. We may have the interest to defend, but we may not have the capacity. But children are going to die. Somebody's children are going to die, not only these ones.
Before you blame Rwanda on the issue of the M23 in the Democratic Republic of Congo, I want to give you a small background about exactly what is happening in the eastern part of the Congo. How did it all start? Because all you hear is that Rwanda is supporting M23 rebels. The DRC government is fighting against the M23 rebels to take the eastern region of the Democratic Republic of Congo. That's what you hear in the news every day. I want to tell you exactly what's happening there. Let's go back to where it all started. During the infamous Berlin Conference in Europe, when Europeans were dividing Africa amongst themselves, the Belgians took Congo, the Germans took Rwanda, Germans took Tanzania as well, and the English took Uganda, carving out this area amongst themselves as Europeans. They didn't care which tribes they were cutting in between. Most tribes in Africa have been cut in between. At the borders of most African countries, you find that the same tribe is found on each side of the border. It is very common across Africa because the Europeans did not care how they are dividing these tribes. All they did is just, you're taking this, we're taking this, you're taking this, we're taking this. So that's how they divided the DR Congo, Rwanda, Uganda, Burundi, Tanzania, around that area. And the Tutsi tribe ended up having its territory divided between two countries, Rwanda and the then Zaire, which is today's Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, why are the M23 rebels fighting against the Democratic Republic of Congo forces and the United Nations in the eastern part of the Republic of Congo? And who are the M23? The M23 rebels are a rebel group that was formed by the Tutsis themselves to defend their territory, which is the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, to defend against who? Against the Democratic Republic of Congo government, which has been trying to take over their land, the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, for decades now. You might be wondering how a group of people might be trying to defend themselves against their own government in their own country. Yes. That's the Democratic Republic of Congo. There is no rule of law. Everybody for himself. If you are weak, you are displaced. And this is what happens. Countries like the United States, China, and Russia have gone to the Democratic Republic of Congo, have chosen territories that they want to take over, and they've armed tribes that live there to fight off some tribes. So weaker tribes are taken over. So every tribe in the Congo DRC has to arm itself to the teeth. Those who have more arms and stronger, they take more territory. Government is in on it. The United States, the EU, they use the United Nations troops as cover for gang warfare that is going on in the DRC. There's no government in the DRC. They call themselves government, yes, because they run things from Kinshasa. But in actual fact, they are a gang that represents the United States, France, and others to loot the DRC. And what do? The Democratic Republic of Congo forces themselves will go out there and displace their own people off their land and allow American, British, and Belgian and French companies to be mining on those lands while the indigenous people on those lands have been displaced into refugee camps. Some have been displaced into other countries. Generations are born outside the Congo because they can't go back. They've been displaced and their lands are being guarded by the gun. Under the watch of the Democratic Republic of Congo government. This is why the Tutsis in the eastern part of the Congo armed themselves, starting with the Banyamulenge, now with the M23. Because if you don't arm yourself in the DRC as a tribe, you are finished, especially if you have rich land like the eastern part of the DRC that belongs to the Tutsis. So the M23 rebels had to arm themselves to fight to defend their territory. The eastern part of Congo is rich with uranium, lithium, and other semiconductor minerals that are used to make phones and drones and everything. So now, the world is moving towards drones and phones, these smartphones and everything, and electric car batteries and everything. And these minerals are in abundance in the eastern part of the Congo. Are you following me? So, government forces are fighting to take the eastern part of the Congo away from the Tutsis. The Democratic Republic of Congo government is not being very honest. The truth is, they are fighting to take away the eastern part of the Congo so that the United States and other countries can enjoy exploiting those minerals in the eastern part of Congo after displacing the people, the Tutsis, the rightful owners of the eastern part of the Congo. Now, how does Rwanda come in? Follow me now. Rwanda comes in because there is a Tutsi government in Rwanda. And they are one people, by the way. They are just divided by the borders. They speak one language. They have one culture. They have the same religion. So they went to Rwanda and asked for help from Rwanda. So what does Rwanda do? They are countrymen. They are clansmen. Can they let them down? No. Because even when they are mining their own land as Tutsis in the eastern part of the Republic of Congo, they are not going to export their minerals that they are mining from there through Kinshasa or through other places. They have to find safer routes that they trust. So where are the safer routes to get the minerals out? It's Rwanda and Uganda. Do you understand what's going on here? So they fostered a relationship with Rwanda. Now, what does Rwanda benefit? From the exports, of course. One. Number two, after the genocide in Rwanda, it was a fight between the Hutus and the Tutsis. The Hutu tribe also is found in Democratic Republic of Congo, and it was divided in half by the Europeans. It is also found in the Democratic Republic of Congo, by the way. This is how complicated this whole thing is. So now, the Hutus, after being defeated in Rwanda, they escaped to the DRC. So when they escaped to the DRC, they were regrouping there to come and overthrow the government by force in Rwanda. So I said, how does the Rwandan government benefit from this scenario? Number one, I said, exploitation through Rwanda of minerals. Number two, national security of the Rwandan government, the Rwandan people, has to be guaranteed. How? Because the Hutus could regroup and attack Rwanda again. So how do they guarantee national security as Rwanda? They have to keep those Hutus in the DRC in check. So how does Rwanda do that? They use their clansmen, the Tutsis that are found in the DRC, to keep the Hutus in the DRC in check. Do you see there? So that's the second way that Rwanda is benefiting from the relationship that it has with the Tutsis that are found in the DRC. Now, the DRC government is not being honest because they are trying to push the Tutsis out of the eastern part of the Congo, saying they have to go back to Rwanda. Where do they go back to? The eastern part of the Republic of Congo is their land. It is their land. You cannot expel a people and leave their land. The DRC government is not being honest. What they want is the minerals, the uraniums and the lithiums and other semiconductor minerals that are found in the eastern part of the Congo, the land that belongs to Tutsis. So they want to expel the Tutsis from there to Rwanda. You cannot, because these people is their land. The Europeans just divided it and said, this is Congo, this is Rwanda. So the DRC government, by not being honest on this issue, is complicating things. And the United Nations is coming in an already chaotic situation. But everybody knows the United Nations is the United States. So the United States has interest in the eastern part of the Republic of Congo because it is rich with semiconductors, which are important for nuclear arms production, drones, and all these phones and car batteries and airplanes and everything in the eastern part of the Congo. That's why the war is concentrated on the eastern part of the Congo, because the United States and its allies are fighting to push the Tutsis off their land, because their land is rich with minerals that are used in making of semiconductors, drones, and nuclear weapons. This is why they are fighting.